From the Classic 107 studios in downtown Winnipeg, 107 Live for Birchwood Jaguar, the art of performance.
Paul Williamson, a fourth-year undergraduate student at the University of Manitoba, pursuing a Bachelor of Music in Piano Performance and studying under David Moreau's. An award winner at local, provincial, and national competitions, he's joined us here in the Classic 107 studios ahead of his performance with the Women's Musical Club of Winnipeg Scholarship Winners Recital. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty well.
Well, that was absolutely lovely. I just want to point out you're playing a nice little electric. I don't think we could have wheeled anything bigger into the studio. How was that?
It was good.
Well, the reason why I bring it up is because it might not have that same grand sound, but you can still hear the expressive quality to your playing, Paul. It was just a lovely, lovely performance.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for doing that. Well, so thanks for popping by. I want to ask you a couple of things. First of all, who got you started in piano playing?
My parents actually did. So my mother plays a bit of piano.
Oh, really?
When I was growing up, I used to hear her play, and that encouraged me to play as well.
So where are you born for listeners?
I was born in Abbotsford.
Is this for you?
Oh, okay.
Perfect. You want to let go of that guy? Nice.
Great. But I was raised in Mission, BC.
Nice. And what brought you to Winnipeg?
So in the summers of grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12, I participated in summer music festival called Morningside Music Bridge. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they take instrumentalists from around the world, but a strong contingent of Canadian performers. And when I was there, I met David Moreau's, and we just worked really well together. And I decided to come study here.
So here you are in your fourth year.
Yeah.
How's it going, the fourth year? I mean, everything starts to come together in the fourth year, right?
It's been busy, but it's been really good. So,
in terms of repertoire, in terms of what you're studying right now and how you're studying, where do you feel most comfortable as a pianist?
I would say my strengths lie in the late Romantic and 20th century repertoire.
And
so.
What about that repertoire jives with you as a player?
Well, since a young age, I was always attracted to the composers like Rachmaninoff and Scriabin and Liszt, but increasingly now I enjoy the 20th century composers as well. I'm playing one of the pieces I'm currently working on is the American composer Samuel Barber, his piano sonata. So,
well, I mean, it's really exciting stuff. It's challenging stuff too, right? I mean, there's a lot that's going on within that music. It
right,
isn't necessarily. I mean, like, I'm not trying to poo-poo Haydn or something. I very much enjoy the Haydn sonatas, but there's something different about those late Romantics, the 20th century composers, and what they bring.
It's it's enjoyable in different ways, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the lush quality of a Rachmaninoff sonata is different from the structural integrity of a Haydn sonata per se, right?
That's a wonderful way to put it. There is a real structural element to it. Well, I want to ask you about what is to come. I mean, it's fourth year. I mean, it's a busy time. You're wrapping up with recitals. There's a lot going on, especially this time of the year particularly. What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'll be happy once I'm done my auditions.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the fourth year slug,
yes.
That's for sure. It's not something that I knew. Where are you looking to apply?
So I'll be applying to 5 schools, one in Canada, McGill, and then I'll be applying in the States, Juilliard, Yale, Rice, and Colburn.
Yeah, some very big names, some great players at all of those schools as well. We were talking off the air a little bit about that. And very often that is the big draw, right? Why you're looking to those schools and how those players and their pedagogies complement your playing and where you're at.
Right, great faculty, great students, great environment.
Absolutely. So in terms of performing here in Winnipeg, you've done a fair bit of it. You've won a number of competitions, like I said, at the national, provincial, and local level as well. You made your WSO debut last year, right?
2 years ago,
Was it
actually.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
What was that like? What were you performing and how did it go?
So I played, I'll give you a bit of backstory. I played, I won the concerto competition in my first year, and then that opportunity allowed me to play with the UMSO, the student orchestra, in the second year. And the conductor for that is Julian Pellicano, and he's a resident conductor with the WSO. And so I had performed it in February, and the very beginning of February, and about 2 weeks later, the WSO had a concert in Brandon, and Gwen Hobig was supposed to play the concerto, but she had to drop out because she wasn't doing well. And so they asked if I would substitute in because I had just recently worked with Julian, and it'd be a great opportunity. And it went well. I was pretty nervous because we only had
Rightfully so. Yeah, no big deal.
we didn't have any rehearsal time practically. Our bus got there a little late, so we only had 20 minutes to go through a 40-minute concerto. So we touched some parts in the first movement, ran the third movement, didn't even touch the second movement, and
nice.
we just performed it. So, but it went well.
Oh, look at that. I mean, talk about one for the record books.
Yeah,
and
right.
a story to tell. That's a pretty cool thing. And I mean, again, hats off to you. That's a really exciting opportunity for a young performer. I mean,
It's wonderful.
You've been tearing it up, for lack of a better term. There's a lot going on. I want to ask you about the Women's Musical Club of Winnipeg. What does the support mean? I mean, this Women's Musical Club of Winnipeg Scholarship Winners Recital awards something like $10,000 worth of scholarship.
Right.
As a young performer, what does that mean for you?
Oh, it's excellent to have these opportunities. Studying music, there's a lot of costs that can be incurred, right? And it's financially stressful. So having the support of a organization like the Women's Musical Club of Winnipeg means a lot, especially this year, given that I have to apply for all these different schools and I'm applying for other competitions, and, flying everywhere, it requires money, and the applications are expensive as well. So it means a lot to have this sort of financial support.
Yeah, we're lucky to have the support that we do here in Winnipeg. I mean, it really is a musical mecca of sorts. I want to ask you about the recital that is to come. That's December 28th, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But this isn't your first performance with the Women's Musical Club, actually, of this concert season.
Right.
You were performing in the concert number 1 with Gregory Lewis, the violinist.
Yeah, I played with him.
I want to ask you a little bit about that. As a young player, do you like solo performing? What about collaborative performance do you enjoy? I mean, that's why I bring up the WSO concerto performance as well, that idea of collaborative aspect. What do you enjoy about that?
Oh, I probably enjoy collaborative performing the most, actually.
Yeah.
So, like, duo recitals or chamber music is
That's what I was going to ask you about next.
my best passion. So these past 2 summers, I participated in a program in Maine called Kaniza Hall, and it's a chamber music festival, and it's just 8 weeks where you dig deep into chamber music in a kind of excluded environment where you can't really do much else, but that allows you to focus in on this one thing and just really perfect your craft in that area, so to speak. So.
Yeah, and you can learn so much from chamber music. I mean,
absolutely.
When you're just sitting there and making music with other people, it is just such it elevates things to a whole new level.
Right. There's no music that enhances your musicianship as much as chamber music does, studying it.
So looking ahead to the December 28th performance, you're going to be doing a little bit of solo playing, I imagine. What's on the? I mean, not to give away too much.
Right.
But what are you going to be performing?
Well, I'll actually be performing the Barber Sonata that I mentioned earlier.
Oh, nice.
So,
Yeah, so people can come and see it in person.
Exactly.
Yeah, all that hard work comes to fruition.
Yeah. As a bit of a story, actually, Barber, it was commissioned by the League of Composers for their 25th anniversary. And the pianist set to premiere was Horowitz. And but Barber was having trouble while writing it. It took him 2 years to finish. And it's only a 19-minute piece. But he originally wanted...
Quality 19 minutes.
Right, exactly. Oh, it's very good.
Yeah.
But he had it set out in his mind that it would be a 3-movement work, but it ends with a slow third movement. But Horowitz didn't want that. He needed a virtuoso final movement. So at some point, Barber got mad at him because Horowitz was pestering him, and he decided to write a virtuoso fugue to finish the piece.
Wow, and look at that. So people can see that. Paul, I want to ask you, would you be so kind as to play one more tune? Maybe something a little bit festive?
Yep.
Well, that's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks for coming by the Classic 107 studio.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, pleasure. Paul Williamson is a 4th-year undergraduate student at the University of Manitoba. He is one of the 2017 Women's Musical Club of Winnipeg Scholarship winners. He's going to be performing on December 28th. That's a Thursday, so you can mark it on the calendar, that at the Winnipeg Art Gallery. I'm excited to say that many of the winners are going to be here in the Classic 107 studio for live performances. But before I get to that, I'm going to turn it over to Paul and one more tune.
107 Live is Classic 107's intimate concert series, brought to you by Birchwood Jaguar, the art of performance.